mm, and research that delve into the student experience at universities. This is a central topic, and as we saw in the Dr. Bridget Phillips conference this morning, it is a topic that is much discussed, but not so easy to put into action. Fortunately, we have today's presentations, which are an example of a determined effort to focus on the student experience and students affairs work. We will begin the session with a presentation from the Philippines focused on soft skills and from the perspective of hybrid learning. We will continue with a vision from another part of Asia in Singapore with an experience that speaks to us from the concept of co-curricular engagement. And last but not least, we will have an experience from Qatar, which from a multiversity vision shows us an experience to contribute to the students' success. I would like to propose the following guidelines for the session. Each presenter will have 15 minutes for the presentation. A reminder sheet with the word 5 minutes will be shown to the presenter to remind them that the time is almost up. Once the time is up, I will gently ask the presenter to move directly to the discussion with the audience. I apologize if I speak softly or if I am brief in my remarks. So I have been experiencing sore throat, perhaps due to the jet lag or the change of climate, air conditioning, don't know. Excuse me. Well, returning to the guidelines, secondly, I ask you to take into account the most important aspects of each presentation. At the end of all the presentations, please scan with your phone the QR code that I will show you and complete the questionnaire. This is your feedback on the presentation we have with us. Thank you all for being here today. We're going to start with Jennifer Inez. She works at the Office of Counseling and Career Services as a university counselor. Also, she's a researcher, a published researcher, and PhD student in educational psychology. Is correct? Let's welcome her with a round of applause, please.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Jennifer Ines. You can call me Jenny from the De La Salle University, Manila, Philippines. I'm here to share with you our ongoing research on soft skills development in hybrid learning, college student satisfaction, perceived helpfulness, and learnings. Just a disclaimer, I mentioned ongoing. I will not be able to present to you the results today, but I'm going to take this opportunity to share with you what we've been doing in our office to, render service to our students. Okay. As academics and, people who work with students in the student affairs, we all have a mission to make sure that we produce successful students. The purpose of college education is to prepare graduates with the knowledge, skills, and ethical responsibility to meet the future workforce needs of society and to participate fully in the new global economy. Also, to broaden the minds and prepare our students for a life of citizenship, to develop individuals who are concerned with flourishing for the self and for the society. Now, what's happening in the real world? We all know that there's been a lot of changes, a lot of transitions, especially during COVID. Okay, if there's one thing that we've learned from that experience and the pandemic is that to make ourselves sustainable, it's been the topic of this entire conference. And they've launched we're now in the fifth industrial revolution, which pushes forward the integration of emergent technologies in the workspace, use of collaborative robots, etc. I won't go into the details of that, but you could just imagine the kind of work, the kind of jobs that our students, our graduates will be facing. They have to be equipped with a lot of technical skills, competencies, etc. But is that all they need? No, I think the universities are doing well in terms of equipping our students with the technical know-how in order to survive with this kind of work. Actually, our students are very techy, right? They're quite advanced as compared to us. However, there has been reports that there are soft skills gap. 50% of global employers reported a soft skills deficiency among employees. 59% of US hiring managers who participated in a LinkedIn survey reported that it is very difficult to find employees with soft skills that limits their productivity. To fill this gap, employers are necessitated to invest in soft skills development among their workers. So it's a lot of effort also for our industry partners. What are soft skills? Soft skills, there's a lot of terminologies used for it. Some would call it soft skills, transversal skills, personal transversal competencies. It depends of the researcher, or essential skills. But soft skills are basically defined as personal qualities, competencies, behaviors, and attitudes that allow individuals to navigate their work environment, build effective work relationships, and become efficient in achieving their goals. According to the industries, the top soft skills that they are looking for graduates, or for those that they will employ, are communication, teamwork, problem solving, positive attitude, likability, customer service and orientation, and efficiency at work. And what's our work in the universities? What should we do? Industries and researchers recommend that while students are still in the universities, soft skills must already be taught and embedded in the curriculum. Is this being done? Actually, yes, we've been doing it, right? Soft skills are traditionally taught face-to-face, but with the advancement of technology, many organizations utilize online learning or integrate online and face-to-face format and deliver soft skills through training programs. But there's also hybrid learning, which combines traditional in-person classes and online learning emerge as relevant and promising pedagogical approach during the pandemic. Okay, using the hybrid space for soft skill development, it's been useful. It's been found useful in developing soft skills needed for students to be career ready and employable. Studies show that it showed a positive effect on students' empathy, okay, and then increase students' communication, critical skills, teamwork, and positively impacts also teamwork and communication among students. So it's being done. We're utilizing also the hybrid space for all of these. Now, I'm talking about this because in the Philippines, we are still in hybrid learning. So we do give a lot of programs in both online and in person. In the counseling center, we've developed a program that would make or at least help develop the soft skills of our students, and we call it the SAS series. It's actually a three-part course. The SAS SAS 1, the SAS 1001, is given for first year students. The SAS 2 is given for second year, and then SAS 3 for third year. So we developed this framework of explore, develop, and connect, and the core of which is also on mental health and well-being of students. Okay. Now, just to give you an idea what's being taught, no, I'm going to discuss only about the SAS 1000 because our office is directly in charge of this one. With the SAS 2 and the SAS 3000, it's a collaboration with other student affairs offices. Now, for SAS 1, they have to take a series of modules. Okay, it's a combination of online and face-to-face. They get to meet the counselor during the orientation for the course. We give them a psychological test. It's a personality test, just also for them to get to know themselves better. And then we conduct interviews. It's either individual or sometimes group interview, depending on like schedules. And then they get to answer also some online modules on smarter creating goals. We have mental health, there's mindfulness, there's emotional resilience, there's skills to succeed is also a career readiness program. And then at the end of the term, or at the end of the term, they're expected to come up with an e-portfolio. This e-portfolio, they will keep improving it in SAS 2000 and SAS 3000 in order for them to be prepared for the world of work. Now, while soft skill development programs in hybrid spaces are widely practiced, little is known about college experiences of going through such programs. If we are to invest on hybrid programs, there's a need to examine the levels of satisfaction of students and whether they perceive the programs as relevant and helpful. It's hard to, just offer programs to students and then they just finish it to comply. We also want to get feedback. It's very important for us to get feedback so that we would know how to improve the program and whether it's working or not. We are looking, in our research, we're looking into two constructs. The first one is perceived helpfulness. It refers to providing useful assistance to facilitate student learning. Usually this construct is used for medical treatments, but it's also used in the academe related to placement, characteristics of college students taking up nursing. So this is an example of a study that looked into perceived helpfulness. And then student satisfaction is also very important. Student satisfaction is valuable input for institutions and instructors to enhance the quality of hybrid learning in future and to optimize students' learning. Our research questions: how do college students describe their experiences of completing a hybrid career readiness course based on the level of their satisfaction and their perceived helpfulness in preparing them for their future careers? And then we're also going to look at what are their learnings in going through a hybrid career readiness course. So it's a combination of quantitative and qualitative. Our assumptions is that hopefully they have high levels of satisfaction after going through the course and that they perceive the course as highly helpful in preparing them for their future careers. We also assume that students will have various learnings after they go through the career readiness course. Why perceived helpfulness and satisfaction? We are looking at from a lens of motivation. So human choices and performance are mostly influenced by their self-beliefs or how well they can do an activity and how they value it. Okay, according to one motivational scientist, to at least a group of scientists, an individual's achievement, choices, performance, effort, and persistence are influenced by their expectancies and values. So it depends on what they expect from a particular task. Okay. And what are the things that are important to them. Okay, so I'm not going to go through this, but we can see that there are different kinds of values, and this affects how students engage in a certain activity. Our methodology is convergent parallel mixed methods design. So as I've said, we're combining quantitative and qualitative approach. Our participants are first year, they're the takers of the program. And instruments, there is an end of course evaluation that we will use to specifically answer those questions. And also, we're going to look into one of their essays, no, their integration essay on how was their experience of taking the course. For the data analysis, so we'll using descriptive and thematic analysis. As of the moment, the proposal is already approved by our dean and our director and the provost. It has been granted the ethics research, review board just before our flight here in Korea, and they wanted us to give another round of informed consent. We already have the informed consent, but there's an additional requirement that we need to fulfill before we can start digging in the data. But we do have the data already. Okay, so that's it for now, and yeah, thank you so much. If any of you is interested in our results, let me know. I have my calling card here, and yeah, I'm very much willing to share our results. Thank you.
Um, we have 5 minutes for questions and discussions with the presenter. Anyone? Well, round applause for Jennifer. Thank you. Now we continue with the presentation of Alvin Sim. He works at the Singapore Management University. Alvin graduated from the National University of Singapore with a Bachelor's of Social Sciences, first class honors in geography. He was awarded the National University of Singapore Geographical Society Gold Medal. He then attained a postgraduate diploma in education with distinction from the National Institute of Education. Let's welcome him with a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know about you, but this morning when I heard the keynote address, I was greatly inspired, predominantly because I think a lot of what was shared resonated with me and the work that the institution I'm from had started to embark on, really about rethinking how we should deliver education to our students. And I would like to say that it is not just the academic side of the house, but those of us involved in student affairs and in co-curricular, I think there is a lot that we can do to enhance and transform our students' experience as well. I'll skip this, right? So these were the 3 primary questions my team and we asked ourselves as we started on this journey, and we started, say, about 5 years ago, all right? We asked ourselves the first question, all right? In student affairs, we do a lot of co-curricular activities, right? What's the value of co-curricular learning on our students? The second one, which was really problematic, we know that students learn a lot from co-curricular learning. How can we measure the learning? And more importantly, how can we document this learning so that students can take it, right? Post-university when they go for job interviews or scholarship interviews. And because of the first 2 questions, then we asked ourselves, how can we rethink the purpose and delivery of co-curricular learning in our own institutions so that at the end of the day, students are better prepared to succeed, right, when they leave the university. So I think similar to the earlier presenters, I think there are various surveys and data like this, right? But this was from the World Economic Forum, and they mentioned the top 10 skills, right? Employability skills that employers are looking at. And if you can look at the top 10, really none of them are specifically disciplinary related, All right. So just like what Jennifer says, right? Whether you call them soft skills, I like to call them beyond disciplinary skills. You can call them transferable skills. If we think very carefully, many of these skills can actually be developed out of classroom. All right, and that's where we as student affairs professionals are involved in. All right, lots of out of classroom learning. All right, so how can we facilitate the development of these very essential skills through the work we do? So, at least the institution that I come from, right, in the past, our students are very active in student life. They take part in many activities. And if you speak with them in the past, what made them choose the activities they chose to take part in, very often is the reasons on the left, right? They take part for personal interests, because their friends join, so they join, all right? So peer influence, or sometimes they want to feel part of a group, right? But we started to get them to think of more than those reasons on the left. We started to get them to think very intentionally and purposefully, what are the learning outcomes that they desire, right? So that will influence the kind of co-curricular activities they pick. What kind of skills can they develop through taking part in these co-curricular activities? Having fun and being part of a group is perfectly fine, and that's part of the university experience, right? But we want more than that. You're already investing time in those activities. Are you cognizant of the skills you are developing that then can lead to your professional goals post-university? Right? So as we started to put all these things together and these thoughts in our heads, we then realized that we need to not just focus on the experience. Prior to revamping the way we are doing co-curricular learning in our institution, we are very big on the experience, right? But we need to focus a lot more on the learning and not just on the experience. So with that, we started moving into this model of very much delivering co-curricular education in a more purposeful way, all right? So that students are able to not just develop, but also demonstrate all these skills that we talked about earlier, right? That are valorized by employers in the market. So this is how we did it, all right? So as a university, and we developed this as the Singapore Management University's SMU graduate learning outcomes. So this is the university-wide outcomes adopted both by the academic as well as the non-academic side of the house, so student affairs. And we all agreed that these were the 5 key areas that we wanted to develop our students in. That means every graduate who leaves our institution demonstrates capacity and competence in these 5 areas. So what we did then was really to align the learning outcomes of co-curricular activities to these learning outcomes as well. So I would say, apart from the graduate learning outcome 1, the first one, which is primarily we leave it to the academic side of the house, the other 4, 2, 3, 4, and 5 really were learning outcomes from our co-curricular activities. So this morning, I remember the keynote speaker also talked about transformative education. That was exactly the model we adopted in how we deliver co-curricular experiences. We wanted to move from just experiential learning to very much transformative education, transformative learning. So some of the keywords that I will highlight, that we wanted co-curricular learning to be very much more purposeful, self-directed, because students pick the kind of activities based on the skills they want to develop for themselves, all right? And in doing so, really enhancing students' experience, engagement, and also getting them to expand their perspectives and the way they interrogate the world out there. So we developed the SMU co-curricular learning cycle, as I call it. It's a 4-stage cycle, all right? And what we do, and each of the 4 stages, I'll just elaborate briefly after this. The first stage is front-loaded learning. The second stage is then the main experience itself, but it doesn't end there, all right? Stage number 3, our students engage in rigorous reflection after each activity they participate in, and they get evaluation and feedback after that. Right? So the aim of this co-curricular learning cycle is really not just to generate learning, but to deepen learning, measure, and to document their student learning, which I will illustrate in a moment's time. So front-loaded learning. So at the start of each activity, all right, we actually set learning outcomes, all right? And this was a big move for us, all right, because before that, before we moved to this learning cycle, most of the time students just embark on the experience, okay, all right? So with this adoption of this SMU co-curricular learning cycle, we actually get each activity owner to map out learning outcomes. And the learning outcomes are mapped to the graduate learning outcomes that you saw earlier, right? So they identify, do I want to focus on interpersonal skills? And that's my focus for this particular activity for the year, all right? And the next step then we do, if those are your objectives, we make sure that the co-curriculum mentor or manager infuses those learning points into before the start of the activity. So for example, it could be a workshop, all right? It could be a discussion session, all right? It could be a training session. So these learning these learning sessions usually are held before the start of the experience, but can also be embedded throughout the experience itself, because some of the experiences could take place over 1 year. And then of course it's the experience itself, right? So the experience itself in our university co-curricular learning spans anything from internships, anything that's out of classroom learning, all right? From internships to community service engagement to your usual student clubs and organizations, or even organizing events, all right? And then it comes to post-activity. That's the rigorous reflection. And this was important to us if we want to move into transformative education, because right, without the reflection, true learning actually doesn't take place. All right, so students go into the experience. You ask them at the end of it, how was it? It was fun. It was fun. Yeah, but what did you learn? All right. If we do not get them to pause, to think, and to reflect about that whole experience that they have gone through, it was a wasted opportunity, because as they reflect, they change their perceptions, all right? They realize the changes in their perceptions and the way they think about certain issues. And that's what we want to capture and document, and for them to realize and be able to articulate those changes. And then we do evaluation and feedback, all right? How we do evaluation, and we're very careful with this, we don't give them a score. It's not even an academic grade. All right, it's not A, B, C, and so on. It's not so much measuring how good they are and demonstrating those particular competencies. What we are capturing is actually the growth, how much they have grown in the identified learning outcome. There's a difference there. Right? Not how good you are, how much you have grown through that experience. In other words, what's the impact of that co-curricular experience that you have just embarked on? All right, and we looked at two particular pieces of evidence, right? The first one is external demonstration. So these are things that can be observed, all right, by the co-curricular educator, by the mentor, by their peers, all right? The other one is the reflection piece, and that's the internal demonstration. So the irony is very often, as external mentors, we see the changes in the individual. But then when you ask the individual whether they have learned in those areas, they actually are not aware that they actually have learned it, because they have not articulated, they have not internalized and reflected on those learnings. So both pieces are important, the external demonstration as well as the internal demonstration of growth. So in SMU, right, our students actually, beginning from next year, all right, they all will receive a co-curricular transcript upon graduation. So the co-curricular transcript is a formal document that complements the academic transcript. So it has equal weighting because it's issued officially by the university, right? And the difference in our grading is we don't give a grade A, B, C, D. We looked at the growth of the student, right? And we assess them in 3 tiers. Exposure. Exposure means that they have completed successfully the activity, all right? Integration is one step further, and I'll go to the next one. Yeah, integration is the next level, where they have now demonstrated a deeper understanding. They're starting to question, all right, interrogate their previous understandings and perceptions and assumptions. Transformation, there must be a drastic, a significant change in speech, action, or behavior. So these 3 tiers. And this is a sample of how the transcript will look like. So if you can see, we're moving away from just a listing of all the activities, right? Because it's meaningless to the employers, all right? Instead, we foreground the skill sets. In this case, our university's graduate learning outcomes, right? We foreground the skill sets and the level of achievement that the student has attained, whether at exposure, integration, or transformation. Right? So I've come to the end. Really, I challenge all of us back in our own institutions. We are very busy with conducting many events, programs, and co-curricular activities, right? And it takes a lot of effort on our part and our team's part, right? But how do we move the needle, right, to something that is really impactful for students so that when they take part in all these activities, there's actually real learning that they can take with them post-university, and to demonstrate to employers that, hey, I'm employable, I'm ready for the workforce, all right? With that, I end the presentation. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you, Alvin. Now we have 5 minutes for questions and conversation with the presenter.
I think you're loud enough. Yes. I'm sorry I had to skim through, right? So happy to talk more if you need to. That's super. That's across the universities. Wow, okay. That's excellent. So employers have a common document to look at. Super. Oh, to collect the data, yes, yes. We do have an integrated co-curricular management system, which is not developed in-house. That's actually my wish, to have an in-house system. It's off-the-shelf product from a vendor, but suffice to say that it's not a perfect solution, right? It's adequate for us to store the required data, but the processing to produce the transcript is back on out. It's not a one-stop button and then everything is churned out. And the reason is because every institution who's trying to use that to do something similar, the output is quite different. All right. So we really use this vendor, this system really as a data collection. We use Anthology and one of their products within Anthology. I will take a look at that. So we use that system also to capture the reflection. So the students actually submit the reflections into the system, and that's how we do the assessment. Thank you so much. Is there time for one more question? Because
Thank you for your presentation. In the level 2 of your model, the experience, I noticed the internship. So are you collaborating with the academic programs of the students? With regards to this?
Yeah, so in our university, any out of classroom experience, that means not in the not academic module, is considered co-curricular. In our university, all our students actually have a mandatory requirement. They have to complete an internship. They have to complete a community service project. All right, and on top of, if they want, the optionals are the student clubs and societies. So the transcript aims to document their learning through all these things, whether it's internship and so on. So yes, in that sense, our career office operationalized the internship program, right? But it's the same platform. They submit their reflections, and the whole process of co-curricular learning is the same for internships or whether for any other co-curricular activities.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you so much.
Please, applause for Alvin. Thank you, Alvin. Well, we continue with Dr. Abdul Nasir Al-Tamini, representing Qatar Foundation.
presenters.
Dr. Abdul Nasir is an experienced education administrator with a demonstrated history of working in higher education as well as primary and secondary education. He is skilled in student affairs, academic affairs, continuing education, curriculum development, and much more. Now, let's welcome him with a round of applause, please.
Muchas gracias, my friend. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Abdel Nasser Al-Tamimi, and with me, I'm the Executive Director for Student Services at Qatar Foundation Higher Education. And with me is my colleague, Basit Iqbal, who is the Acting Director of Student Life at Qatar Foundation Higher Education Division. So thank you, guys. I think we're the last presenters, and we stand between you and the gala. So we're going to try to be quick. But the good thing is we have at least 25, 30 minutes, right? So actually, we thought the presentation was going to be 2 hours, so we made it that long. And then we realized that we're going to have to shorten it to about 15 minutes. So we're going to try to be quick. Our presentation basically is not really a research study. It's more of an information sharing about Qatar Foundation, its partner universities, and its unique multiversity model that we're very, very proud of. So, it's not really a study, but, we end with something that is more of, information about some of the universities that do exist at Qatar University. But before we begin, let me ask you, how many of you watched the 2022 World Cup? Only the men. The women? You don't like football, right? Okay. Where was the World Cup? In Qatar, right? So before the World Cup, did any of you know where Qatar was, the state of Qatar? Okay. Well, 15 years ago, not many people knew where Qatar was. When we went, I came from the US in 2010 to establish the first community college in the state of Qatar. I knew where Qatar is because I'm from that part of the world. I'm very familiar with the Gulf states. Many of our American friends that came to Qatar did not even know how to pronounce Qatar. Some of them pronounce it Qatar, some of them Qatar, but now the whole world knows Qatar, right? Because they put together the best World Cup ever. And if you're from Argentina, not Colombia, Argentina, right? Then it was the best finals ever. And if you're from France as well, I support France. So Qatar is a unique place. So before we begin, we're going to show a video, and I don't know how to do this, guys. I would like to show a video about Qatar Foundation. Let's see, Basit, if we can do that.
Get out of here, and it was saved here. One of the files. There's a mouse. We have video, yes. Downloaded it. I don't know where it is.
There you go. There you go, yes. No, forward to Qatar.
This one?
No, top. Yes.
Make it full screen, please. Make it here. And the volume, we need volume.
Yeah, I can see it from here. Good. You can go back and start again. The volume?
Ideas are born.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
It began with a vision. a dream of a modern country where ideas are born, knowledge is shared, and heritage preserved. A vision inspired by its people, their talents and potential, and a belief that education is the key to a world full of possibilities. This vision turned into a unique education model that enables lifelong learning regardless of age or background. A place that encourages innovation and breakthroughs by unifying international experts with homegrown talent. A place that empowers its community to become active global citizens while still staying true to their roots. Because the past empowers the future, and knowledge is the key to unlock doors. Qatar Foundation. Unlocking human potential.
اللي يميز نموذج التعليم العالي في المدينة التعليمية هو وجود عدة جامعات ذات مستوى عالمي بالإضافة إلى جامعة محلية، وتوفر هذه الجامعات عدة تخصصات مميزة وفريدة من نوعها منها الطب والهندسة والعلوم والفنون والإنسانيات. تمركز هذه الجامعات وقربها الشديد من بعضها البعض في المدينة التعليمية أتاح فرص متعددة ومبتكرة للتعاون الأكاديمي والبحثي.
Studying just fulfills this human need for us to be ever-changing and ever understanding of the world around us, and studying contributes to this idea that we're not really living to just live, but instead to make exceptional lives out of what we have.
عملت في قطاع البنوك لفترة طويلة، ووصلت لمرحلة شعرت فيها بأن بإمكاني تقديم المزيد، ولذا قررت العودة إلى مقاعد الدراسة والتحقت بجامعة الدراسات العليا لإدارة الأعمال HEC باريس في قطر لأزداد علماً في مجال الإدارة. وجود مثل هذه الفرص للتعلم المستمر يسهم بقوة في إثراء مسيرتي المهنية، وفي الوقت نفسه يفسح أمامي المجال لتقديم النصح والإرشاد لأقراني من الطلاب الأصغر سناً وتشجيعهم على السعي لتحقيق أهدافهم، كما أنني أنقل ما تعلمته للمجتمع.
I think what I learned is to always strive to be better and to always improve the way that I deal with different people coming in from different backgrounds and how I understand the world and what it means to be alive in the middle.
Someone's already started the party.
Very good. So this is a brief presentation outline. We'll start, talk about Qatar Foundation, and then we'll give you an overview of the multiversity concept or model that is at Qatar Foundation. We'll talk about some of the multiversity initiatives that have been going on or have taken place at Qatar Foundation. And then Basit will share with you some multiversity student engagement activities, and also not only in student affairs or student life, but also multiversity related to academic affairs as well. And then we'll briefly share with you some success stories, and if you have any Q&As. I know we have only about 15 minutes. So as you saw in the video, brief about Qatar Foundation, it's a non-profit organization that was established in 1995 by Her Highness Sheikh Hamoza bint Nasser and the Amir of Qatar, the father Amir right now. So his son is the Amir of Qatar, Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al-Thani. And the whole purpose or the whole mission of it is to promote education, science, technology, community development in Qatar and beyond Qatar as well. So Education City, which was launched in 2003, is a 12 kilometer squared city that is in Doha, that houses not only 8 universities, but more than 45 institutions that are part of Qatar Foundation. So these are the 7 international universities. First of all, we have 6 top American universities. One of them is Virginia Commonwealth University, which focuses on the arts. And then we have Weill Cornell Medicine, which focuses on medicine. Texas A&M has a number of engineering programs that they offer. Carnegie Mellon offers 4 programs in information systems, computer science, what else? Biological sciences, and one more. He's a graduate, by the way, of Carnegie Mellon University. Business administration, because he just graduated with that program, but many years ago. And then we have Northwestern University, and we have a representative from Northwestern University, not Northwestern University in the Philippines, because we heard that there's a Northwestern University in the Philippines, but this is the one in Chicago in America. And then we have Georgetown University in Qatar as well. We have HEC Paris, that's the French university that offers some of the best executive MBA and MBA programs in the world. And then a local homegrown university, which is called Hamad bin Khalifa University. They are all within Education City, walking distance from one another. In addition, again, we talked about, Education City being home to more than 45 local and international organizations, including 13 K through 12 schools, which are part of Qatar Foundation. And again, the goal is to bring all these world-class, top, highly ranked institutions, educational institutions, science and research to Qatar's doors. Some of the entities, research and development, we have Qatar National Research Fund. And if you're interested in pursuing research, in partnering with somebody from Qatar, you can do that. They have multi-million dollars that they can offer to faculty and staff. We have the Qatar Science and Technology Park, which is a hub for technology development and innovation. Many startups begin at the Qatar Science and Technology Park. We have this one over here, as you can see. This is Sidra Medicine, which is a hospital for children and women. One of the top hospitals in the world. And then we have Qatar National Library, which is open to everybody in the community. Just a fantastic state-of-the-art library. We have also non-profit organizations such as Education Above All. I don't know if you've heard of Education Above All, Educate Our Child. If you've traveled via Qatar Airways, you'll be able to see that. 5 minutes? Okay. So what is the multiversity model? Basically, as you can see, it is a model or a concept where you bring all these entities together. And mostly we talk about the higher education, but it's all entities together, collaborate and come up with interdisciplinary or cross-disciplinary initiatives that basically will transcend the world or change the world. Some of these initiatives, we have cross-registrations where our students from all the universities, the 8 universities, are allowed or are able to take classes from the other universities. So if you're a student at Northwestern University and are interested in taking a class at Carnegie Mellon University or Georgetown University of your choice, you are more than welcome to do that. All you have to do is just make sure that you go through the process and join those classes. They have joint academic programs, so you have universities collaborate to develop either bachelor degree programs or minor degree programs that are of high demand or of interest to the students. Interdisciplinary research and projects. You have faculty, students that come together, collaborate, and work on joint research focusing on multidisciplines. And then extracurricular activities, you have students from all these universities participating in the different activities, and we're going to talk about those ones later on. Faculty and student exchanges, you have students again, and we're trying to promote this even more, where we have students from not only one university going on a study abroad experience, for instance, at their home campus, we allow them to go to the other universities as well and get the best experience. And then we have the Sustainability Network, which is an extracurricular initiative aimed at promoting sustainability practices across Education City. This is where students, faculty, and all that work together to promote sustainability. I'll give it to my colleague Basit quickly to share with you some of the initiatives.
Hello, everyone. So this Marhaba is our first day of orientation for all students from all the universities. So we bring them all together and we welcome them as a spirit of the first day and telling them all that they're part of a bigger community, they're part of Qatar Foundation's community. So that's our first day. It's on the 18th of August. We're working really hard at putting it together. This is some pictures from last year. It's one of the biggest orientation programs that we have. About 600 students attend this. Then we also do intramural sports. So we have students, of course, competing in sports and representing their university. What we want to do is create a culture of students being able to play sports for fun, to come out to compete with their friends groups. So we have students from Carnegie Mellon and Georgetown and Northwestern coming together, creating teams and playing based on which country they're coming from or all of that. So that creates an environment beyond, that creates an identity beyond what they have at their respective university. Some examples of us giving out the tournaments. These are all from this last semester. Then we have multiversity student clubs. So students have clubs within their university, but then they have clubs outside with QF Student Life as well. So we have the entrepreneurship club, we have the Al-Noor, the Islamic Students Club. We also have Arabic Language Club. So these are some of the topics that students come together, and these clubs are unique in a way because you would have students from different universities coming. Not only it is representation, but it's also the idea of every student brings a different perspective. So a business student and a political science student, art student, when they come together for entrepreneurship club, they did a fantastic job. So some are thinking business, some are thinking how to market the club, some are thinking, and they're bringing their expertise. So that creates this beautiful synergy which we are trying to do outside of the classroom and inside the classroom. Some pictures of some of the events that we have put together, the clubs have put together. Also, we are very diverse. I think we have more than 80 nationalities represented in our student body, and that calls for celebrating our cultural diversity. The name of this event, I don't think there's any Arabic speakers here, but is Thaqafati, which means my culture. So we try through these events to celebrate individual student cultures rather than saying we have one big culture. We try to give everyone the opportunity to display their culture and show where they're coming from. This also brings students together. So we send out emails and we see, okay, there's 2 students from Korea in Northwestern and 5 at Georgetown, and we put them all together and they work with their embassies and everything to put this show together. Also, we promote Qatar Foundation across the world through Study in Qatar, different initiatives. We go to conferences and places where we talk about, the value of studying in Qatar. Also, there's new program that we are working on this year is a new International Students Banquet. I was an international student myself, and I think there's a lot of value in making sure students know that they have a system here, they have a group that they could work with. And I think what we are trying to do is to make sure that students realize they're not alone. The experience that they're having is a shared experience, and they have reason to celebrate it. And we're going to do that starting this year. We also work on a first semester student experience program. So trying to give students the opportunity to come and learn about what university life could be like, what are some skills that they could use, what are some resources that they have, and we bring them together and throughout the semester to work with them through these different workshops and projects.
I know I have a few minutes to finish. So these are some of the success stories of our multiversity models. We have students that came together to develop startups, students from Carnegie Mellon, information systems or computer science students, along with engineering students coming together, or engineering students and medical students coming together to develop startups. We have CMEQ students, or the Carnegie Mellon University students, along with Texas A&M students coming together, participated in inter-university entrepreneurship competition and won the Best Marketing Plan Award. And then we got students from 3 universities, again, participating in another entrepreneurship competition. We have students from 2 universities coming together, collaborating, and working on joint research and receiving a grant. Student collaborating in robotics competition, and then the women faculty. Again, now this is not only students. Now we're going to be talking about the faculty also coming together and forming their own forum, which they usually organize once a year. And then the programs, we talked about academic programs. We have Northwestern University and VCU that have started a film and design minor. So students that graduate from VCU or from Northwestern in their fields or with their majors can also take a minor in one of these universities with this major or minor. And then we have Georgetown University, Texas A&M, and Carnegie Mellon University working on a program in multidisciplinary energy studies. The Sustainability Network is a collaboration between our CEO's office and partner universities. Physics for Future Doctors, which is, again, Weill Cornell Medicine and Texas A&M University faculty coming together. Lower Cross Education City, this is,
Doctor?
Hamad bin Khalifa.
Excuse me. The time's up.
Okay, so I'm done.
Can you
I'm done.
use your last minute for conclude?
Absolutely. Lower Cross Education City, this is the last. These are last 2, and then an integrated learning approach for teaching statics on human body to undergraduate students. That is, again, some of the work that the faculty have collaborated in and a successful program. Any questions? I know Fred has a lot of questions.
We're planted in here, so.
Yeah, go through the list.
Let's give them a round of applause.
Yes.
Thank you for Qatar
Thank you. Appreciate it.
for such a grateful World Cup.
Next year, Colombia will be.
Well, after these presentations and after reading the abstracts, several concepts have been lingering in my mind, such as the need of the need to work on the development of soft skills amid the challenging environment of technology and hybrid or virtual education. I am also left with a reflection on the importance of understanding and implementing actions that integrate curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular activities so that the student experience is lived holistically. From a holistic perspective, we also reflect on the idea of multiversity as a call from complex thinking to broaden the student experience on campus, foster cooperation between institutions, and enhance the civic and community vision of the different campuses. I want you to get in touch with our presenters and engage in conversations today to build new networks and enhance the importance of this meeting governed by Iasas. Also, please don't forget the gala It's the opportunity for more networking. Please don't forget to complete the questionnaire. Everybody has finished the survey? Excellent. Um, well, from a personal view, with the due respect, I'm very happy to be here with you. I fly 24 hours to be here. I want to ask you all a favor to take a photo together here in the front with me, please, for my memories. If you want to, please join me here.